rolling and get people in here. Just double check that that's getting going.
And I'll be monitoring
Okay.
the chat too, Sky. So there's a question that comes in,
Okay.
that's pertinent anyway, so I'll mention it.
She said the recording stopped. Oh, it's in progress
Just got
again.
it started again. All right, let's let people in and get started. All right. Hello. Hey everyone. How you doing?
A lot of people
Welcome.
today. This is great.
Yeah.
Hi,
Sky,
everyone.
you're popular, clearly.
Thanks for being here, everybody. I'm excited to do this today.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun session. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we're going to get serious too, as we always have fun and get serious.
Absolutely.
Cool. So I'm going to just put a spotlight on the three of us here before we get going and do a little bit of intro in a second. And make sure people are getting admitted. Morgan, if you can keep an eye out for folks and let them in, I'll make you the official Zoom co-host.
That'll help.
All right, awesome. Well, I think without further ado, we'll start to get rolling here. Pull up my notes and let the ground running. Okay. How's been your week, Morgan? You've been busy, right? I hear you're bringing some
Real
people
busy.
on board and on your team, people to help out in the shop and stuff like that.
Yeah, we brought on another technician on Tuesday, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's always kind of interesting, like showing them the ropes. And of course, we had a couple no shows, and one person, I think there was I think something broke, and like whatever else. But no, it's been a good week. The weather here is absolutely crazy. It's like a hurricane outside. I don't know what it's like over in your area, but
Oh, yeah, it's
it's
very nice over
like
here
if
in
a house blows
Chicago.
away behind me, I
Okay.
warned you.
All
Is a
right.
hurricane in Nebraska today?
Hurricane in
Maybe.
Nebraska. Ready for tornadoes, I think, happen on the plains, right? All right. Well, why don't we get the intro going now that we got people settling into their seats here? Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour. We gather here every Saturday to meet with and learn from the most fascinating and knowledgeable folks in the piano world. Sky, no pressure to be fascinating and knowledgeable, but we're counting on you. And this includes manufacturers, rebuilders, musicians, makers of other instruments, all kinds of folks, and of course, piano techs. Our mutual goal is to become better at our craft, helping each other and create an ever more musical world together. Piano Tech Radio Hour is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, an online learning resource that brings you cutting edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can find out more at www.pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. And I will give a bit of an intro to today's featured guest. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Sky Meadows Jenkins made the leap of faith to move from Alabama to Seattle in order to train with the renowned Stephen Brady. 1 year later, this lady decided to move forward even further in her career. Steve retired from his residential service and she purchased his business. Now she's in the process of setting up her own piano rebuilding workshop in Seattle. She holds a BM in music theory from the Eastman School of Music. I've heard of them, where she studied piano with Barry Snyder and 12-tone theory with John Kovach. Before learning to tune piano, Sky was a church musician and piano teacher in Montgomery, Alabama. Her experiences with performance pianos in both Alabama and at ESM continue to motivate her to raise the bar for our industry. Sky, welcome here to Piano Tech Radio Hour. It's really great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to hand it over to Morgan to deliver a few questions at least here to get started. Morgan, what would you like to get started with?
What got you interested in the technology side? Like you started with music theory, but with performance and whatnot. Like what you got you over to this crazy side?
Well, I think as the case is for a lot of pianists, we're just confronted by the complexity of our instruments at times, and something's not working. We can't find anybody who can really figure it out. Actually, I had discussed working with my piano technician, who was my piano technician since I was a child in Alabama. He actually moved over here from Great Britain, where he studied with where he worked at Steinway for many years in London, Steinway and Sons, London. And he was an excellent technician, and he said he would teach me everything I needed to know. But unfortunately, it was not long after that he had a heart attack, and then he had another heart attack, and then he died. So that was,
Wow.
that was in 2019. In January of 2020, he passed away. And so I had started tuning in 2018, and then it was, I believe, the beginning of 2019, around April 2019, then I started floor tuning at the Steinway Gallery in Birmingham. And from there, I thought I would be in Birmingham for longer, but
What
COVID-19
brought you
and
to Seattle then?
oh, that was definitely Steve. I wanted to come out, and I was actually planning to take one of Steve's voicing classes in Delaware that was supposed to be at the convention there in April of 2020. And when that was canceled, I was frustrated with the situation in Alabama. There wasn't work to do. Everything was on hold. I wasn't working at the Steinway Gallery anymore. And I just emailed them, and it's like, oh, would you be able to teach me some things if I just drop in one day in Seattle? You know, I'm just gonna drive out to Seattle. I can have some lessons, and he was like, well, why don't you just stay here? Because I would like to retire, so just
Oh,
kind of went
wow.
from there. Yeah.
Okay.
You chose the right guy.
Yeah, well, I actually had just ordered his book, and I had ordered his book in December, but there was this weird thing with the mail in the apartment complex, and I wound up not actually getting his book until February. And so I had just finished reading his book when the pandemic hit, and I was just like, wow, I have to work with Steve because I had just read his book.
So I gave his book actually to this um, college teacher last week. And she has really been enjoying it herself. Like she's not a technician, but she likes all the kind of excerpts from all the famous pianists and kind of the basic explanation of some of the problems that we face as technicians and how we can best prepare for the artist. So, um, yeah, it's a great book. Very, very good.
Yeah, I think there's not enough situations, at least for the piano technician and the pianist, are really coming together and connecting. And I think that book is you really see it there, and it's really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you still teaching now, or
Oh,
are you just doing
piano?
piano
No,
technician?
no, no teaching.
Okay. Okay.
Only piano technician. I haven't been teaching or doing church work. It was really weird this year. I almost like missed Easter. I didn't know that Easter was coming up. Usually it had been for, almost a decade, the busiest week of the year. And this year I almost missed it.
So, like when Steve offered you to take over the business, that was probably like an easy yes for you, or did you wrestle with that for a little while?
Well, it was more of a gradual process, and our plan
Okay.
sort of evolved over time. My main goal initially was to find a mentor because there's even still a lot of things that I want to learn from Steve, and I've learned so much about piano technology and working in this business through my time in Seattle so far. Um, that was my main motivation. Uh, I wasn't really having any learning opportunities in Alabama once the pandemic shut everything down. Whereas before
Sure.
the pandemic, I had been working in a shop and going to PGG meetings and stuff like that. So it
Okay.
was kind of
Okay.
frustrating time, and I didn't want to just sit and do nothing. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go do something. Yeah.
Yeah. So then how did you decide, and what were kind of the mechanics of taking over the business? Because I know that can be tricky sometimes, especially with online scheduling or like custom reminders, or like someone opens the door and, wait, you're not Steve, who are you?
Yeah, that's definitely been the most difficult aspect, is the business administrative transition part of it, which just wound up being much more involved than I, as someone with very little business administration or management background, was prepared to deal with. So, it's a pretty steep learning curve on that end as well. But Steve has also been really helpful with that. And I found a business advisor through um, the retired executives. It's called SCORE. And so I meet with her once a month, and that's been really helpful. But it is just a lot of management to try to keep up with. And so that's why I'm hiring people, because it's either I'm gonna go run away far away and hide in the forest at the Olympics somewhere. I'm gonna get some help, because it's just more than I knew it would be once he
I'm in
retired.
a similar situation. Right before COVID hit, I had a very part-time person, and now I have 5 employees, and we're adding one next month. So there's a point where you can't do it all yourself, and eventually, like, your customer service begins to fail. Just like your personal health suffers, just kind of your energy suffers. But tell me more about that business coach thing. Like, you have monthly meetings. What do you talk about? What are goals they set for? Because that sounds like something very interesting that maybe like more of us would like to
Oh,
learn about.
well, I can, it's called SCORE. I don't know exactly what that stands for, but it's like Seattle Cooperative of
I think it's a
Retired
national.
Executives.
Oh, is it? Because I think it's a national thing. Score. I've heard of
Yeah,
it. They call
yeah.
them like score mentors. Yeah, I
Yeah, it's a
haven't
SCORE
utilized it.
mentor. It's a
Hmm.
SCORE mentor. I was just Googling business advisor or business manager, and a bunch of different things came up, and I wound up looking more into the SCORE, and there was a long list of potential mentors to choose from, and mine has been extremely helpful. So for example, one of the things that she did was connect me with a tax advisor who sent me a spreadsheet to enter in all of my income and um, out expenses, and it will automatically input it into my tax forms. So it's like just specifically tailored for Washington State as well. So, then she also has helped me look into getting set up with an LLC, and help me find the steps for that. And just kind of help me make a business plan. What are my next steps? Um, in terms of finding an employee, and whether it's going to be a contractor or an actual employee, and so those types of things. The nuts
Yeah,
and bolts of the actually running the business.
I'll cut in here real
the
quick,
main.
guys. I'm gonna just for the folks on YouTube and Facebook, we're about to sign off of there. So if you want to join us, I put a message in the chat. If you want to hop on the Zoom call, there's a link how they can do so. I also remember, Sky, you said that maybe some folks might be in attendance that you might like to say hi to or introduce. Do you notice any of those folks in the session here that you
I
want to say hi to?
see in alphabetical order. So hopefully they know who they are, and they'll say hi if they wind up getting here, because I don't think they were going to be able to stay for the whole thing. So
Okay.
is that Steve? I see Steve B, but there might be more than one Steve B.
Let's see. Let's see what's going on with Steve B. Well, I'll ask Steve B to unmute himself. We'll see if that's the illustrious Steve B. And you mentioned a Kevin, but you didn't say the last name. Who's the Kevin?
Unfortunately, I am not.
Oh, you're not. An imposter. All right. Who else?
Kevin Chance, but he said he didn't know if he was gonna like he was gonna try to jump in at some point. And I think Seymour might jump in at the end. She's actually in a piano service appointment here in Seattle right now. She's my new employee who's going to be helping me with business administration and client relations and tuning upright pianos. She's working towards her RPT certification and everything. So
cool. All right.
But I don't think she's here yet because she's
all right. We'll keep an eye out.
now.
We'll keep an eye out. I'll let you guys get back to the topic at hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about score.
Yeah. It's been said many times that the main reason that small businesses fail is because of taxes and or cash flow. And as we grow with the piano technician business, it's not just about regulation and about tuning, it's about business management. And so we have to think 3, 4, 5